What's poppin' over here? What's poppin' over here? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let's get it poppin', man. Cheer. Don't sweat the technique.
Pump your fist in the air one time. Pump your fist in the air one time. Pump your fist now. Pump your fist now. Pump your fist now.
Don't sweat the technique.
Come on. It's the God Rock Kim technician. Come on. It's the God Rock Kim technician. It's the God Rock Kim. Yo, Rock, going on these niggas.
Let's trace the hits. Check the flag.
What's up? You are now tuned in to Brutally Opinionated Podcast with your girl Nene. Shout out to Vision Straightforward, and I ain't sugarcoating shit.
Let's go, Nene.
Welcome to the Brutally Opinionated Podcast with me, Shanika Nate, and my brother.
You know what you got, Big Pete JR in the building.
And we like to call this a safe space to have uncomfortable but beautiful conversations unapologetically.
That's right. That's right.
With us tonight is a very special guest that I've had on here before, and I thought his story was so amazing that I wanted to do a part 2. He does a lot of things in the community. If you hear his life story, you would just be blown away. And the transition that he has made from where he was to now, one of the most notable community, I'm not going to say an activist, a leader.
That's right.
You know, he's more than a leader, he's a warrior.
Wow. Come on now.
He literally keeps his foot on these politicians' necks unapologetically when it comes to our communities. He has a nonprofit organization called End the Violence, where it has made tremendous strides over the past few years. And I'm not going to tell his story. I'm going to allow him to tell his own story. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Mr. Sean Stevenson himself. How are you doing today?
How you doing, sister?
I'm doing all right.
What's going on, King? How's everything out there?
Hey, man, we just trying to survive, brother. Trying to bring life to the people. Sleep.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody to like, comment, share, subscribe, share. And we're broadcasting this live from the Culture Mix Studios.
Yep. Straight out of RVA. You know how we doing it?
So, Sean.
Yes, sister.
Tell the listeners about Sean Stevenson.
Well, I need you to direct me. You know this.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's start from the beginning.
Come on,
for
man.
those who weren't privy to hear your story, let's start from the beginning.
Just tell me what you want me to speak on, and I'll go.
Well, I'll say from your childhood on up and how you transitioned to who you are now.
I had one of the broken home childhood. You know, mother and father was in the streets in the 60s and 70s, and they were outlaws and had me while they was on the run, living their life. I was born in a cab in New York, Queens. While my mother was on the run, I was taken from my mother at the age of 5. Been through orphan and foster homes. I got adopted when I was 9 or 8 or 9, and got with a family that was not of that life. Okay. And they expected something out of me and wanted me to be something other than who I was and what I was. My foster father was in law enforcement. My foster mother was in education, children's background. And because I didn't fit none of those skill sets in them squares and boxes, I was always different, and I always wanted to know why I was different. And I was put out at the age of 13 because I wanted to find out who I was, and I found out I was adopted at 13 in school.
Okay.
And once I realized I was adopted, I asked my foster family to allow me to see and meet my biological family. Then I was given an ultimatum. And I picked to go on low income to be around my biological family and left middle class. And they couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
And I was in the streets ever since.
Okay.
And got in trouble at the age of 14 at a shooting incident. And they took me, when they heard that I was in this street life, took me to a whole nother city and left me. Because I carried their last name, which means I was interfering with their livelihood and lifestyle.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Yo, that's crazy, man, to be just dropped off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what was your mental space at that time?
Aggravated, frightened, in a world that I knew anything about, no relatives, no family, wondering how I was going to eat, what I was going to do, and just went in survival mode. You know, I wasn't good in school. I didn't have an educational background. Like I said, I was only 14.
Yeah.
And I ran into some older guys and seen them make money. One was a relative, and that's how I got into the street life, dealing with the drugs and stuff like that. He showed me some pink papers and some blue papers, told me one was boy, one was girl. And just took on the lifestyle. And I was always told as a young person that you're nothing if you don't have no money.
Yeah, that's definitely what they told us young brothers. You got to go get it by any means.
Yeah, and that's what we did. And that took me on to a life of higher severity criminal activity. Ran into people, met a lot of people, did a lot of traveling.
Okay.
Took risky chances. Didn't value my life or anyone else's at that point. It was all about survival. And by the time I was 15, I got my first little meal ticket, and you couldn't tell me nothing.
I know that's right.
You know, and then I ran into other people in Vegas and LA, and you know, went back to New York and just never looked back.
Okay.
You know, I was in Atlanta, I was in DC, I was in Virginia, Carolina, Ohio, Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, just floating.
It was all over the place, huh?
Oh yeah, you know, at a young age.
Yeah.
You know?
It sounded like you was about 15 or 16 at this point, right?
Oh, I was 16.
Damn.
16, 17 traveling. I got locked up in 1992. That's when the feds took me into custody.
Now, Sean, what do you know of your biological parents?
I met my biological parents, believe it or not, when I got out of federal prison in 2009. That's when I became aware of my biological mother and father. My father. My mom died before I got locked up.
Okay.
My mom died when I found out I was adopted. My mom died shortly after they took me out of the state when I got the shooting case. She died right after I left. So I was 14 when my mom died, and I was 44 when my father passed. So I only got to spend maybe 12 months to 11 months with either one of them.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I love math. I just picked up on something in this conversation. You went in around 19?
Yeah, I was 21.
And you said you didn't get out till what? Did you say like 42?
2009.
And so how many years did you do?
20.
Wow. Talk about that. How was, we hear about the stories inside, but, talk about what you can and what you would like to talk about, because we want to share some information to them cats out there that think going to jail is sweet.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing sweet about going to jail, especially at a young age. When I went to prison, I was weighing 155 pounds. And I was only 5'4". When I came home, I was weighing 206, 207, 5'8".
Damn.
And like I said, I was 21. But prison was not a joyful place to be, even though I knew a lot of people in there. Because of my lifestyle and me doing all the traveling, I ran into a lot of people when I was in various cities that I dealt with. So they was in the system as well. And when I got apprehended, I was down in Carolina. So I had a Carolina number, but I've been all over the world. And while serving time at a young age, I educated myself with street history and politics in the streets. So while I was in prison, instead of just sitting there being idle, learning nothing, I sat down with all the people who had information and insight, because I realized power is information, it's not the dollar.
Yep.
So people that you would normally not sit down and talk with or not have any dealings with, because the way prison is set up, you hang with your own people and you stay in your own crowd. I broke all the barriers. I sat down with everybody, and because they was going to explain to me what was the reasons and what were the things they were trying to achieve when they was living outside in that world. So I got to talk with the cartel, Mexican mob, Italian mob, triad.
Okay.
Got to sit down, talk with the Crips, the Bloods, Latin Kings, Vice Lords, GDs. Let me see. El Rukins, Peace Stone. I talked to some of the Panthers. Like I said, I was doing 20 years, so I got to talk and get a lot of history.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like hearing it from the horse's mouth versus hearing somebody talk about a book or what they heard.
Facts.
So I educated myself in that manner so I could know why we were taking these unnecessary risks. And what was we expecting and what were we looking to get out of that lifestyle. Because I knew in order for me to be successful when I come home, I had to come home with a different plan and idea and ideology.
Okay.
So, I begin to network and get people to work together instead of being in there living in separation.
That's powerful, brother.
So in these meetings, we would sit and articulate how we was going to do things and how we were going to change systematically how we think and move when we get released, because a lot of people don't have an out date. And even though I had an out date, it didn't seem like I was going to make it to it. But I would watch how the guards would talk to certain people and how they would handle certain people. And I began to ask myself, why do they treat him different than they treat this one? Because we dress alike and we can only spend the same amount every month. So what makes this person more important than the next? And that's when I realized it's the value of the information that a person retains. What better way to keep a secret or hide a person from telling someone something that's beneficial than put them away?
Facts. I guess that's why they also mean knowledge is power. It can go both ways.
Most definitely, brother.
Now, what are some of the things that you experienced or that you've seen during your incarceration that you don't mind speaking about?
This may sound crazy, but the politics and how they use the politics that we create amongst ourselves to keep us apart, and how the system in society is set up to mislead us and not allow us to trust one another and live in harmony. Although we were in there under the strict and rude conditions, I realized that this is the only place that a black man is guaranteed a job is in prison.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure to cut that clip out right there. Damn.
There's no place in the world where we're guaranteed a job.
It's like every time I hear him say that,
that's crazy.
It hits deep, you know what I'm saying?
Yo,
it hits harder and harder.
But you right, especially now with the increased homeless population and all these people out here on the street, and you like, yo, all these jobs got hiring signs in the window.
Right.
That's crazy.
But they put all these stipulations to fit the criteria of those jobs. And in prison, they'll create the job to fit the person. So if a person is missing a leg or an arm, they're going to create a job that fits that person, to occupy that person for 6 to 8 hours a day.
I'm so glad he's going into detail about that, because these young ones that's just thinking, throwing your life away is so sweet. I heard Shabazz OG say, it's better to walk away than walk the yard.
Most definitely.
And that was just a powerful statement within itself.
Yeah.
And this is why it's better to walk away than walk the yard.
Because they're going to find something for you to do in there. You won't do nothing on the outside, but they're going to create something for you to do in there.
Absolutely.
Well, sometimes we have to look at why the system is set up. That's the only way that a person will realize that you can be productive is when they create a place of job and job security off of you. Prison is really the only, the word I'm looking for is Section 8 for men.
Wow.
Oh.
Section 8 for women in society is welfare.
Yep.
But the only way a male can get it is if he go to prison.
And let's be specific, a black male. Especially
we know exactly
right.
what we're talking about.
Man,
black and brown. We already know who we're talking about. Yeah. That's crazy.
Whoa.
And when you go to prison and you look at the incarceration of the people, they keep telling us that we're the minority, and we're not. The prison population is overwhelmed with people of color.
That's what I kept saying. They still running with this 13%. We make up 13% of the population. I'm like, they've been saying that for the past 30 years.
No, that's just code for the 13. So
are they not counting the people that are incarcerated in addition to the people who do not participate in the U.S.
Let me tell you something. That 13% represent a code to say the 13th Amendment.
Well, we can look at it like that, but we got to remember, how do they count us, people of color?
2/3.
It takes 5 of us to make one whole person.
Yep.
So just like they apply that mathematics, they apply that same mathematics when we come in the court system. If it takes 5 blacks to make one whole person, and the Constitution reads we 3/5. So that means we get 3/5 of the law applied to us when we come in the courtroom.
Facts.
Because they consider us subhuman anyway.
We're property.
Yep.
And we go back to the original content when we get incarcerated because we become property again.
Yep.
So are we ever released from bondage?
No.
Nope. But
so
yeah.
Are we ever desegregating when we put boundaries on ourselves and tell us what side of town and what hood we can go in? I used to tell the homies in there, the Crips and the Blood homies, think about what we fighting and dying for. If we look at each other and we put our arms out straight, until that oxygen hit that bloodline, what color is our blood?
Blue.
Once the oxygen hit it, what color is it?
It's blue.
And when the oxygen hit it, what color is it, brother?
It's red.
All right, then.
Yes, sir.
Now let me ask you this, Sean. You were incarcerated at what correctional facility?
Man. So many.
Yeah, my dad is incarcerated, and he say they call it the world tour.
Yeah, right. I've traveled to so many prisons, and
my dad has been in 12.
I've been in so many. So
And
I was out west. I was in Sheridan, Oregon. I was in Carolina. I was in Kentucky, Jessup, Georgia, Lawn Park, Terre Haute, Atlanta. Just so many, and you don't get to stay at any of them too long for a long period of time.
Nope.
When you have a high profile case or you have a lot of influence.
Right. And the reason I asked, because by you going in at such a young age and the amount of time that you had to serve, I'm pretty sure you've seen some horrific things that are traumatized, that are still traumatizing to this day. Because we suffer from PTSD.
Oh, there's no question. But, let me say this, and this may blow your mind. I've been more traumatized coming home than I was in there.
Wow.
And I tell you why.
Come on now. Yeah.
As I grew up, the things that was taught to me that were wrong, to come home and see they all right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to disrespect our mothers and our elders.
Come on now.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It was never accepted for a man to act less than a man.
Nope. You damn sure couldn't put your hands on no woman.
To come home in this day and this time and see the powers that be that run the country are not men of integrity, and for people to believe that it's all right for them to say God made a mistake on how they were created.
That's my favorite quote. God don't make no mistake.
But humans think they're gods now. And I don't know who put in their head that they're smarter than God. Changing body parts and all these other things. For a mother to carry a person and be the nurturer of that person, and to tell that person they're not who God created them to be, it blows my mind every day.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
To see that these laws change every day for others and not for us.
Every day.
They make laws to protect everyone other than people of color.
Yep. Sad.
It's like, when will we ever learn? Because we are always the ones who put ourselves on the front line to help other people push their movements, but we still have yet to get what we've asked for, what we deserve. Our righteous demands have not been heard. They've been heard, they just been ignored.
Our race is the only race to believe they should do well without being with a male.
Yeah. Yeah.
To come home and feel like I'm less than and I'm not appreciated, and we're not treated as kings of our households, looked at as kings in our communities. To walk outside today, right now, and walk up to a young black male and ask him, tell me 5 black leaders.
And they don't know.
They probably wouldn't.
And they can't name one.
Nah, probably wouldn't he bid it. You'd be lucky if you get the 2. But the first one they'll holler is Barack Obama. You already know that'll be the
No,
first
they
one.
won't even say that.
And maybe MLK. Maybe.
They don't even know who that is.
Wow.
I was in Chicago about 2 months ago. Me and Fred Hampton Jr.
Salute to him.
Yeah.
People
Shout out
in
to Fred,
Chicago
too.
didn't even know who he was.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait.
I remember you telling me that. the other day.
Wait. You were in Chicago and they didn't know who Fred Hampton Jr. was?
They did. Listen.
Get the fuck, man. Get the fuck.
In Chicago, his hometown.
In Chicago?
His father's hometown where he made, yeah.
But see, the thing is, we're
History.
so unaware of our history and our roots. And I told the young boys, and I would make them take pictures with him and say, one day that picture's going to mean something to you. I would ask people while we at the restaurants, we out eating. I say, y'all know who that is? They'd be like, nah. And it blew my mind. So you mean to tell me y'all can walk around here and talk about you a part of this set and that set, and you don't know who this man is? Everybody in this city should be protecting this man because this is walking, living legend history.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The bloodline, man. You got to protect that. And he's continuing to work.
And I fought a lot of our leaders that they don't bring awareness and protect that young brother. Sister Amina, a lot of people don't know who Sister Amina is. You know, Sister Amina is Jeff Fort's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Who has children. And Jeff Fort was a man who protected Fred Hampton Jr. And his mother when they assassinated his father. And they don't know these stories. And I asked them, how could y'all walk around in Chicago influencing the world with y'all's behavior?
Yeah.
And not covering y'all's history?
So, we don't like to just, talk about all the negative stuff. We also like to talk about the solutions. So, my brother, seemed like you very active in this community. Like we were talking offline, we was on an amazing call last week. What do you think are some of the things we can do as a people to address these issues, to correct these issues? Because we don't want to just be complaining about them, because, we do want to discuss what the issues are. We need to know what they are, lay them out on the table. But we also want to talk about some of the things we believe we can do to fix these problems. So what are some of the things that you have going on and that you would believe help address some of these problems that we have going on?
To answer both your questions, the fact that people don't know their history, I take the time to go to different cities and share the history that they have forgotten or that they think has been lost. And while incarcerated, I made it sure that I learned more about the history of the soldiers that was incarcerated who didn't get to share it with the brothers before they passed. And I take them stories back to them and educate them and help retrain their mind and behavior by creating these broken bridges so people can communicate with one another and put differences aside and see how much stronger they are and more powerful they are when they network and work together to build the community which they live in.
It's powerful.
And you have before we dive into more into your end the violence movement, what a lot of people don't know about Sean is coming up, he had a learning disability. What was it like just trying to navigate through life at such a young age, then leading to your incarceration with a learning disability?
It was difficult because you was mistreated. people tried to bully you, which created trauma as a youth. And the bullying, I realized as I grew up, the bullying starts at school. And it's not with a classmate or a brother or sibling. It's with a teacher when they ask you to come to the board and spell something or read something. When a parent doesn't know that their child has a problem reading and writing and understanding and comprehending, to force a child to continue going to school without the right assistance becomes abusive to the child that you say you want to help and work with. Right now, 2024, they just now reenacted the laws where teachers have to go back to school and learn how to deal with a person with dyslexia. So teachers are being retrained on what to look for and how to communicate with a person with a dyslexia. When they say in the community that every building and every office space is handicap accessible, no one takes into account that because a person doesn't have a wheelchair that he's not handicapped. Next time you go into a fast food restaurant, go sit and watch the person try to use the kiosk. We take so much for granted. A person go to the bank and try to use the ATM. And they found out the statistics and the numbers of people that's dyslexic in the black community is like 60-40.
Wow.
And they have not put anything in place to assist these young people or older people.
Yep.
For example, G-Dep just got released, this week, right? And yesterday I was reading where he did an interview, and I was reading part of the interview where he says, since being released, it's so hard to come out to survive because of technology now. Like, he knows absolutely nothing about the technology. And normally when you struggle like that, it's a higher percentage rate of you going back in because being incarcerated it's so easy.
Well, incarceration nowadays, they just now start putting the intelligence stuff in the prisons. When I got released in 2009, I was unaware that you could wave your hand under a sink and the water would come on. I was unaware that if you step back from the commode, it would flush. I find myself telling everybody when I got out the car, your lights are still on.
Because you were unaware that they were automatic, they would,
cut off. But these are the things they don't teach you or prepare you for.
The transition.
You know, when I left the streets, if you had a cell phone, you had money because a phone bill was $3,500, $2,500 a month.
Damn.
So when I call and hear that my son has a phone who's 10, 11 years old, I'm like, how he get a phone? Who paying that bill?
Shoot.
You like, damn. Who paying that cell phone, man?
But, unaware how things have changed.
Yeah.
Because you and so in there. You in a cave. You prehistoric.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people that you ran across throughout your journey, throughout the streets?
While I was incarcerated?
Throughout the streets, like before you got incarcerated, who are some of the people that you've crossed paths with?
Alpo. So many people, man. I knew a lot of entertainers. I knew a lot of street guys. The movie Paid in Full. I know all of them. Rich Porter. I knew all of them.
Okay.
I used to live in Queens, so I knew Fat Cat. I knew AZ. I knew Rayford Evans in DC. Wayne Perry. I was in DC in the 80s,
The legends.
Southeast. You know,
The legends.
that was the 80s and early 90s is when all these people that people reading about and hearing about now, this is when they were active in the communities and in the streets in these various cities.
Mm-hmm.
Freeway, you know, let me see,
Freeway Rick.
Rich Porter, Boy George,
Damn. All of them.
yeah, you know that you had to know them because y'all was running in the same circles.
Mm-hmm.
And when there was a festivity, you know, the record, you run into the brothers, you know, when when we was in the streets, I was young, so I'm on all the college campuses. So a lot of the homies would come from New York and go to Carolina and DC.
That's what they said. Chocolate City.
You know, oh yeah. So that's how that was. You know, the Freak Neat, Aggie Fest, Spring Bling. You know that we was all at these spots. You know.
That's what's up.
You know, so you run into our Bobby Brown, Hammer, Heavy D, 2 Live Crew, Ice Cube. I knew all Pac. I met all of them. I knew all of them.
Oh, that's what's up.
You know, Barbara Weathers for Atlantic Star. I knew Trip Wellborn, Haywood Jeffries, Houston Oilers, Muggsy Bogues. I remember when Bobby and Whitney and Janet got in a fight at one of the hotels. You know, I got stories for days that people wouldn't believe because I used to be on the tours a lot, you know.
Oh, that's what's up.
And I laughed because when Bobby told his little story, documentary, a lot of the guys who knew me since I've been home, he talked about a lot of things that I told them about that nobody knew until he did his documentary. So the homies would call me and be like, man, he said what you said, man. He said, and I would just laugh like, yeah, I told you, you know.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. So you basically didn't live life.
Oh yeah, I lived at a young age. One thing I will say, I got to live. You know, I was young, I had a lot of money, and I didn't have to go see a manager to go spend money. You know, I had my money.
I hear
you
that.
know, entertainers got to go see their managers and consult.
You got to talk to their lawyers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm traveling. I'm do what I want when I want.
That's what's up.
You know, Bobby was one of the funniest dudes in the world, and couldn't nobody outdance that brother.
Man, he looked like he would have been a time to be around.
Oh, listen,
man,
listen, me and him, that dude's something else. You know, and I hate when people say that Bobby put Whitney on drugs and all that. All that's bullshit.
Yep.
You know, and I hate when we always cast a cloud over our black males.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, Bobby was a good dude, and he looked out for a bunch of people, just like Mike Tyson. You know, I hear people talk about Mike, and Mike looked out for everybody. But people took advantage of us, not just the music industry. You know, we were always taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Always.
You know, I can tell you a lot of stories about brothers who gave to the community, you know, and helped little leagues and all that stuff when we was out there in that world.
Mm.
You know, I knew a lot of big producers before Clark Kent, Steve Beats, Fanatic, you know.
Okay.
Steve's the one who did a lot of writing for Jay-Z, Beyonce, Biggie, Lil' Kim. Fanatic wrote for them. Anthony Hamilton, you know, before he was who he was.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, just so many, you know, so many.
Oh man.
You
Legendary.
know.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like we have to do a part 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, listen. I got stories for days. You ask about it, I can tell you. And all they gonna do is laugh because they know.
Because they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're in the violence movement.
Yeah, let's go. That's what I want to talk about. What you got going on?
Now, I've been aware of, you know, the end of violence movement, but it's one thing to be privy to seeing what you actually do. And when I tell y'all that Sean keeps his foot on these people's necks, like we sat in the meeting when he conducts meetings with a lot of public figures throughout the nation. I'm talking like Mob James, Ayatollah Mar, Freeway Rick, Terrence Gangster Williams, just to name a few. And he facilitates all of that. And he has representatives from the Department of Justice on the call. He's even received awards for the work that he has done. And I want you to elaborate a little bit on that.
It's funny hearing that stuff. Well, I came home with a plan because I wanted white America to know not all black men are weak.
Come on now.
And
I can't wait to hear this one.
You know, we not all gonna bend over and tell something.
Nope.
That's gonna be a playback.
Nope.
That's gonna be a soundbite.
My whole thing was I wanted them to know we do have structure and we do stand on a foundation of strength. And
Thank you for that. Thank you for showing us that.
Yeah, thank you. When I realized that our women were out here left alone to raise our children, and to hear how people thought of us when I returned because of the behavior that we've taken on of our communities since we've been gone. The leadership has been taken and missing. The unity, the love, the support has been removed. And I wanted them to know if y'all thought I was a weapon before I left, I'm definitely a weapon now because I have information. And I wanted them to know I found out their secret. While they have us chasing the glitz and the glamour, they chasing information.
Look over here. Wow.
And I've asked everybody that I've spoken to.
It's that magic trick.
If we ask young people who is the most feared and wealthiest man in the United States, the average person couldn't answer it because of the way they taught us to think. So when we say what is wealth, what do we say wealth is as a people?
We'll probably think Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or somebody along them lines.
Or Bill Gates or somebody like that. Yeah.
So when I asked what is fear, what were we taught fear was?
That's an interesting question, bro.
Yeah, because I'm
I don't really even know how to answer that one.
right. That I'm sitting here pondering.
Think about how we've been taught. What's fear?
I think we've been taught to fear our own possibilities and capabilities.
Okay, that's cool.
I think
So
we've been
for
taught to fear the system.
$400 to you all, the listeners,
Money.
who's the most wealthiest and most feared man in the United States?
Okay, money.
Okay, once again, who's the most feared and wealthiest man in the United States?
They would think the president, but
No, I had a president broke as shit.
definitely not.
Yeah, like you said, a Bill Gates, Elon Musk, or somebody with like a lot of money.
I'm going ready to tell you the answer. And once we understand this, we become a weapon within ourselves.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let me hold on to my seat.
Because I definitely love to be educated, brother. I'm a student at all times.
The most feared and wealthiest man in the United States is Eric Snowden.
The whistleblower.
Damn right. Why is he feared?
Because he got information.
Why is he wealthy?
Information.
He got that knowledge.
You damn right.
He got that knowledge. Okay.
So once we learn that, we become into having power.
I got some research to do now.
And he hasn't
Because
been
guess what?
touched.
And they want him dead.
He hasn't been touched.
And why do they want him dead?
Because he has all the. He was the one that blew. He was the whistleblower that blew the information that the government was spying on us.
Oh yeah.
And doing everything breaking all our constitutional rights.
Yep.
And where do they want him at?
They want him on American soil so they can assassinate him.
They want him either dead or incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So how many people have we run across while we've been incarcerated that has that type of information?
A lot.
And we probably would never know.
But you know why we don't know?
Because they locked up.
Because how they train us to think. So while I was incarcerated, I got with these people and found out some of the secrets that people hold and take to their graves. Which gave me power. So when I'm talking to city officials and corporate and government, I can make mention of things they don't know that we supposed to have information to.
And what I love so much about being on that call last week,
That's power.
was not only the fact that you are able to, you do monthly check-ins with so many figures throughout the state to see the progress that they have made with the end of violence movement throughout their cities, and you hold everybody accountable. I mean, everybody from the top dog to the average day person. But what I love the most is how Sean was unapologetic when it came to speaking with the Department of Justice, and it's like, look, if you gonna give us the money, give us the money, but you see what we are doing is effective. Only we can save our own people. We don't need you. If you want to support us, but just get the hell out of our way. And I love that. Like, we, because it's like they always try to tell us how we should be policed, what's better for us. And no one knows. No one can fix us but us. No one can save us but us. And I love the fact that you let them know that, like, look, if you're going to support, just be an ally.
We are
do it from the sidelines, but we don't need, you know what I'm saying? We don't need your input. Step out of the way. We got this. Right. And you're able to show proof of the progress that it's making.
Most definitely. I want them to employ everybody who has a background.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people are the most inspirational people in the communities that's been affected by the things that they started. We can't ask for a cure to an infection until we get the antidote, and the antidote is us. You get bit by a snake, you're supposed to catch the snake that bit you and use the vaccine inside the snake to heal yourself. So why would I expect somebody other than us to fix us?
Mm-hmm.
I always say
I ask any politician to open a map and show me where there's no gangs and no violence.
And they can't do it.
It can't be done. America, people of color have influenced the country. Africa, they gang banging. Asia, they banging. London, they're banging.
Yep.
We have started something that we don't understand the power that we have. Now let's transition that power to something positive.
That's right. Unity. We much stronger together than we are as individuals.
So, the movement is to wake us up and to have us rebuild what we tore down and put some foundation underneath us, underneath this American soil, because America was built on bad soil.
Facts. So what's the goal you want to accomplish with this movement? Because I can see a lot of potential and I can already see it's moving. But what's your overall vision? Where do you see this movement in the next 5 to 10 years?
Seeing us at these tables, seeing us at these conferences, taking the things that hinder us from being at these tables, which is degrees and all these alphabets behind our names to say that we should be accepted here, There's no way you could be talking about safety and violence and we not be at this table. They can't tell me what's needed in the urban community when they don't live amongst the urban community.
Now, say it.
You know, and all these scientists and doctors and professors that sit in these spaces and talk about what's good for us, I disagree. Because even some of these people who do rock climbing and professors that watch the apes, they live amongst them before they start talking about them.
Yep.
And these people not living amongst us or talking about them. They're not eating with us. And then our native tongue was that drum.
Tell him, Sean.
That drum that we so attracted to, that bass line. It told us when we was going to war, and it told us when we was in harmony.
Come on now.
And we gotten away from what we was taught and how we was taught to appease the people who don't care nothing about us.
That's what I got. Cynical.
Now let me ask you this. I have one more question, but this is a 2-part question. So, you have children.
Yes.
What has the relationship been like with your children throughout your time being incarcerated, and what is the relationship like now? I know they got to be proud of their father now, seeing the work, the transition that you have made, and the work that has been done, and the progress. Like, what is that like for you?
So I'm going to answer it like this. My daughter is mature, and she's proud of her father and the change and the revolving that I've done. My son is confused because he's stuck on the hood fame. My son is serving a 28-year sentence for murder now. And while he sees me on the news and hear the things that I do, he says to me, "Dad, that's cool, but I'm trying to live." Because he has yet to understand that living is feeding your brain, not running your mouth. He wants to be seen and popular amongst the sleepers versus the brothers that's woke. And I've always told my son, you don't have to go the extra mile to prove anything to anyone but yourself. The fact that my son is not out here with me is a hurting feeling to me that I live with every day. Because when my son got locked up, he referred to me as being a hater because I wouldn't give him a plug. And I thought to myself, I came home after 20 years and my son was mad that I didn't give him a drug connection. And that hurt me to the bottom of my heart. I fought like hell to come and be with him, and he fought like hell to come in there for popularity.
Now, I know I said I had one more question, but that answer kind of led into one thing that I want to ask, because I'm pretty sure that you hear the most ignorant comments. And in my mind, I'm thinking you're going to have people that ask, well, how are you out here trying to save these kids in the streets? You get what I'm saying? And your son is incarcerated. Have you heard that? And if you have, how do you respond to that?
Well, people ask me, if I was doing all this great work, why was my son not receptive to what I was doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I explained to them, my son got locked up in his 20s and he felt like he was his own man. And our biggest problem as young black men, we don't take advantage of a person who's trying to give us something for free. Because when somebody gives you something for free, you don't know the value of what they're giving you. And a lot of us don't know about information.
Yep.
And the biggest problem we have as black males is we can't see the trees from the forest. Because the answer to every problem that we create is always in front of us. But it takes a person to stand in front of you to tell you to clean your nose out.
Facts.
You can't see it.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, Pete, do you have any more questions?
Oh,
before
go
we
ahead with the
close
closeout question, Nene.
off? So, as always, you know, I gotta ask for some words of wisdom. What would you say to the folks out there, especially the youth out there, the parents, you know, the disenfranchised communities, those who are experiencing trauma, like those who are trying to find a way out? What would you say to them?
I want everybody to know being smart is not no bad thing. Trying to survive is all right too. But make sure what you trying to survive, you don't take away from another person. And value life. And our adults need to quit trying to be cool with their children and make their children step up to the plate to being a better version of themselves. Everything I do today is for my children's and my children's children's future. I want to be a legacy, not a reputation.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Powerful.
Sean, I want to thank you again.
Appreciate it, brother.
For just coming through, and it's always dope to talk to you as usual. And anything that we can do, let us know, because I'm looking forward to the wonderful things that we can build. The wheels are spinning in my mind, because as I told you, I got a sister that I want to connect you with, and I think together. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say, I told you, Michi X. I think together y'all can make some things shake, like move. Again, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
And just let the people know how they can get involved, where they can find you.
They can go on Google and find me. They can go on my Facebook page. My Instagram is always In the Violence, Sean Stevenson, or America's Most Wanted to America's Most Needed. I can be contacted. I'm all over the country. And I ask everyone with a heart to join and take part in this mission to change our community and our neighborhoods and our futures.
All right.
Okay. And we're going to put a link in the bio also when we drop this video, so people can, check out your website. And if they want to get involved, they know how to get in contact with you.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely. I thank y'all for having me.
Hey, King,
No
man,
problem.
look,
Anytime.
The pleasure's all on this side, and we definitely gonna have to do a part 3 or a little deeper dive into the man, Sean Stevenson, because I definitely want to tap into some of those hip hop stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got some
a gang of
cooking.
them.
We got some cooking.
I got a
Sean
gang
and
of
I
them for
already
you.
talked.
Oh yeah.
We got some cooking, but
Yeah.
All right.
until next time, I guess we'll see y'all on the next
We
episode.
appreciate it.
And don't
Peace.
forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Yep. Brutally Opinionated Podcast.
See y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.
Brutally Opinionated Podcast, and I'm your girl Shanika Nate, and this is my co-host Pete.